Okay, just a quick thing, just to thank you all for coming, of course, for this, the superhero panel dealing with mental illness and disability within the realm of the comic universe. Right, we're going to say this now at the start. We may touch off subjects which people will find touchy or offensive. A lot of it is taboo, but that's what we're here for, to break down these walls, show it is okay to talk about it. I mean, I could say it myself, I've been through depression myself. So, yeah, that's the disclaimer. Okay. So, of course, within the...
So this panel makes you depressed, it's not or if you fall asleep.
If you fall asleep. Yep, so basically within the realms of comics, there are noted characters who have suffered and are still suffering from various forms of disability and mental illness. I think the one everyone would spring to mind would be Daredevil, the blind superhero. Okay, just
I don't think
answer.
Okay.
No one's going to debate that.
No one's going to debate.
He isn't blind. What are you on about? No way.
I genuinely.
Also, you blind.
I genuinely knew a girl before, and this is a true story. We were talking about comics, and she genuinely said to me, "What's Daredevil's problem? He's dyslexic." I was like, "Well, sort of." I was like, "It's kind of." But anyway, let's start off. Now, the first one I'm going to look at is autism. This character is Black Manta. He's one of Aquaman's villains. I know Aquaman, okay? I'm sorry.
Aquaman!
superhero.
So basically, as you can see, these artificial gills, he's an underwater villain. Now, this is taken from his second origin story, which was written in 2008. Now, in this story, he, as a young child, when growing up, at the time, they didn't understand what autism was. They didn't understand characteristics of it, or how it could be treated, or how it could be just even how to handle a child with it. In his mind, cotton sheets caused extreme pain, and they strapped him to a bed in Arkham Asylum. He only ever felt comfortable in cold water, and as a form of vengeance, he was going to conquer the seas. So, it's just how something that could have been treated better ended up warping a view of reality.
Cotton sheets would be a terrible weakness.
That's not really the point, but you know.
but like, doesn't the Green Lantern have wood? And
Yes, he's weak against wood and the colour yellow. He'd be beaten by a pencil, but.
Ultimate foe!
Anyway.
Superheroes are so silly. They understood that he wasn't just going to learn to tolerate it and not done that to him. He might not have ended up a villain. You know? I think that's the point we were trying to make.
Not the view with cotton sheets.
No,
You suck, Fionn.
I know! I'm so sorry. I know, I'm an anime person, I'm just on this panel for shits and giggles.
Oh no.
Wait a minute.
Anyway, if the panelists would like to say, have anything they'd like to make or anything they'd like to ask?
How does his head fit that helmet?
It's actually, his head only goes up to the middle part of the neck of the helmet. The rest of the helmet's sensory equipment and an extra air tank if he needs it in an emergency.
So if you shot him in the head, and actually would kill him, but it would make breathing.
Well, he has gills. He can breathe on the water. It's just in the event that his gills were ever obstructed, he has an artificial air tank.
That's really cool. What's his plan to take over the ocean? Like, how does he plan to do it?
By killing Aquaman. To be honest, which is something I don't think we can get behind.
I think what we're actually trying to do though by having Black Manta as part of the panel is that he is the dark side of disability in superheroes, that his disability is mishandled. Whereas a lot of other superheroes were given an opportunity to let their disability empower them. Whereas Black Manta, he was forced to, he was strapped to cotton sheets, he was stuck with them when they could have so easily given something else. And that's what made him a supervillain, the mishandling of his disability, as opposed to just like proper treatment, because he does come from a time when autism wasn't really accepted as a disorder. They thought, well, get over it, because they felt that the things that people would choose to have an issue with because of their autism, that it was ridiculous. Like, how can you be afraid of conscience? It was 1969 to like 73.
The time he was growing up in would have been the 1970s, early 1980s, even though he was originally created in 67. Because it's a very different from his original origin story, which is frankly one of the darkest ones I've ever read. He was abused. He was captured by pirates as a boy and abused sexually on a ship for an undisclosed amount of time. So they went with a different origin story because, well, it was incredibly dark. I mean,
so they made it sunnier with tortured autistics.
Well, it teaches a lesson at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just don't get picked up by male sailors. It won't end well for you.
There's so many boat pirate jokes there.
I want to show God in that and just for saying that.
Any moving swiftly along, this image is actually taken from the Young Justice series. A very good show, everyone should watch it. He's actually a main villain in the Young Justice series. They don't touch on his autism, but it's just a very interesting interpretation of the character. Okay. Yellow Jacket. Which appeared in 1962. Now, we also know him as Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Wasp. I can't believe it's not Giant Man. Giant Man. Ant-Man Zero, and, you know, Ant-Man with line. He's been about 700 heroes. Seriously. And Zombie Yellow Jacket.
That was the best one.
He was the zombie, he was the Marvel Zombies. Now, he actually has schizophrenia. That's the way a woman style it. Basically, he's developed this over the course of his heroics. Quite literally because, okay, he became Giant Man because he felt he was inadequate, his powers were inadequate compared to, like, Thor and Captain America. He genuinely thought that, well, I'm never going to be as good as them, so I'm going to come up with an entirely new persona just so I can do something new.
What is his superpower?
As Ant-Man,
he developed a thing called PIM particles, which would allow him to reduce or increase his size up to a limit of 60 feet or something like that.
Yeah, you can grow 60 feet tall or grow to about an inch tall, or shrink to an inch tall.
You can shrink further than that as well.
Or you can shrink further. Basically, as well, as Ant-Man, he had a helmet where he could control insects. So he'd ride into battle with a swarm of ants. Like, he beat Dr. Doom by sending loads of ants into his armour and just biting him. Yeah, and making him very, very itchy.
I could really see why he feels inadequate.
Yeah, but then as Yellow Jacket, he can actually fly and he has energy stingers.
Why doesn't he just use all of them together?
He does as Yellow Jacket, and as well as Wasp too, because when the Wasp died, he took on
Spoilers!
his wife's.
It's okay, she
The
got
Wasp died or he killed her?
No, she
No,
died.
she died.
She actually died.
In different acts, he kills her.
Okay, just to clarify for people who don't know, he did beat his wife.
Yeah,
Oh,
quite
gosh.
badly, yeah.
And as a zombie, he eats his wife.
Yeah.
Seriously, why did she not leave him again?
She did.
Well, she
She
did.
did.
She did, and she would have fucking half the Avengers afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah!
Obviously, this was to highlight, other aspects of, social life that are not good.
Yeah.
So, passing on.
Jealousy with it, you know.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. No, it's just he does have this multitude of powers, and that has affected him mentally. As Ant-Man, he's the shy scientist, whenever he's saying "I love you" to Wasp or something, he's very sheepish. Then his Yellow Jacket's like, "Yeah, fuck it, I don't care." He's a cocky, arrogant bastard. That's the best way to describe him.
Also, a lot of times,
Sorry.
when his mental illness appears, when it actually gets bad, it shows the side of treatment of schizophrenia, because when his schizophrenia is addressed and it's actually treated and he's in a nurturing environment, he's a good guy. But when his schizophrenia is allowed to progress and nobody checks him, that's when he becomes a bad guy.
He also has like a slight multiple personality thing, because as Yellow Jacket, he hates Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but like Bruce Banner, Hulk hating Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
It is a Jekyll and Hyde relationship.
Except there's 7 of them.
Yeah, there's more. Well, actually, on that. So here he is as Ant-Man and Giant Man. as you can see, he's actually riding on an ant there.
And I bet that's really useful. Having one tiny guy on a tiny ant.
Well, that grey bit in the back, that black bit in the background is actually the rest of the ant legion following him.
Also, you can like crawl inside the brain and just shoot you.
And here he is as Goliath and Wasp 2.
Is that just a male footage of his wife's costume?
Yes.
His wife was dead.
He didn't look good in the skirt. It was a very, very disturbing image.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have to wear them. We have to wear them.
Moving swiftly along. Moon Knight. Okay. Who here has never read Moon Knight? You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, Moon Knight. Basically, he has something called dissociative personality disorder, identity disorder, which means that each of his personalities is a different person. As in, he will black out, he will not remember stuff he did as another person. And the really frightening part about this is the Moon Knight, his superhero identity, is another one of his personalities. As in, it is a different person. And like, this is how dark he gets. He once a villain pissed him off so much, he beat him up, carved off his face with a dagger, wore it as a mask, and proceeded to beat him to death. So the last thing the guy saw was his own face beating him to death.
Okay, so he's obviously not a hero.
No, he is a hero because then when he went back to his normal personality, he went home and made his girlfriend dinner. As Mark Spector.
Everyone's a hero.
Yeah.
What a hero!
But basically, the main differences is you have Moon Knight, who's his superhero identity. You have Jake Lockley, who's this kind of, he's this very easygoing, suave kind of guy. You have Mark Spector, who's a former mercenary / billionaire. And you have Stephen Grant, who's a taxi driver, which is how he gets his information from the street. He's been described as Marvel's version of Batman with the split personality.
Multiple personality disorders seem really common then in comic book heroes.
There it is, because like you are looking at a superhero essentially has two faces. They have their regular civilian identity, then they have their masked persona. I mean, there's stuff he does as Moon Knight he wouldn't do as Mark Spector or Jake Lockley or even Stephen Grant.
But you could argue that with every superhero. There are many things.
It's more just identity dissociation, whereas it's clean cut, serious personality disorder that he does have genuine, separate personalities, and it is like the rest of the superheroes kind of blurs that out because Batman does have different personalities, and there is a very blurred space in between. Whereas with Moon Knight, it is a real characterization of the actual disorder, which most people don't understand. That, like, if anyone's seen Futurama, Calculon has multiple personalities that the others don't know about.
Yeah.
Like, his personalities don't know about each other.
Plus one for Futurama reference, by the way.
We love you, Kev.
Also, if anyone's here watching Adventure Time in the newer series, there's a scene where Finn, who is a hero, he decides one day, he's like, yeah, I don't want to be a hero, and he makes a mustache, right? And he messes with his hair, and he walks around, and because he's sick of people going, oh, come on, Finn, come hang out with us. So he runs off and calls himself Bill for a day.
No, it's Davey.
Davey, yeah, sorry, Bill. Davey.
Wrong!
It's so weird though. But he forgets that he's Finn. Completely forgets that he's Finn. And this is also relative to this because it's kind of how he possibly, not unable to deal with his, the fact that he has powers or the fact that he must be a hero. And like sometimes you want to get away from it all,
Actually, on that, interestingly, it's an interesting point you just reminded me of. He lost his superpowers because he's actually the avatar of the Egyptian moon god, Khonshu. And Khonshu just went to one point, because he follows him around and talks to him. Like, there was a point during Civil War where Captain America tries to get Moon Knight on side, and the spirit Khonshu, just to mess with Moon Knight, appears behind Captain America as a Nazi. Just Khonshu likes to mess with him. And at one point, he actually kills the Mark Spector personality. Completely, as in an entire chunk of memories. You're looking at about 20 years of his life wiped out of his mind. just because of the disorder. And he lost his powers as well as a result of stuff like this. I mean, he was what would clinically be defined, what used to be clinically defined as a lunatic, whereas the more full the moon got, the stronger he got, also the more insane and brutal he got.
So how is he a hero, Mark?
Well, because he does actually beat up bad guys.
Oh, so
He's
it's
an
fine as long as they're the bad
No,
guy.
he is an anti-hero.
A vigilante.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got an ID card in the Civil War.
Okay.
Mainly because Iron Man wanted to keep an eye on him because he said he's not all there mentally. But I think
This is coming from Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm not.
that is a very good point.
Iron Man
Thank
got
you.
better.
Tony Stark isn't in the panel, it's fine.
He just wants to marry himself.
Yeah, but interestingly, the kind of the silver lining to this guy.
He can marry himself.
Doesn't want to marry Tony Stark. Goodness sake.
Can we not have that argument now? That panel was Tuesday, Monday.
Wednesday.
Sorry,
Silver
Wednesday.
lining, Mark, get back to
The silver lining to this character is he has a girlfriend and they're having a baby in the comics. She understands these personalities and loves every single one of them, including Moon Knight, which should be very weird in bed.
That's when I wear your face. That's very, very weird in that person.
Oracle. Anna, I believe you'd like to take the lead on this one.
Because I love Oracle. Oracle, she got shot in the back by the Joker and the Killing Joke because he's a dick. Yeah, they were going to kill her, but then they didn't because they realised that she was actually awesome. Basically, Oracle, Batman would have died multiple times without Oracle. Oracle saves the day all the time, but she does it without being a proper superhero. She's like at a computer all the time. She's a genius. But my favourite thing about Oracle is that, like, Professor X, he's in a wheelchair, but he's a mutant. Like, he has other superpowers. Oracle doesn't. And even though they put her in a wheelchair, they still let her be a badass. Like, she has a sexuality, she has emotions, she has so much going for her. Like, she has sex with so many other superheroes, even though she's in a wheelchair.
Don't remind us of the Birds of Prey song, please.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, interestingly, when I said this to you, you were shocked when I said this to you initially. In The Killing Joke, 1988, fantastic comic, by the way. She was originally meant to be written out entirely of the Batman series, but she was brought back by Kim Yale and John, whose name rhymes with ostrich, because I can't pronounce it.
Ostrander.
Thank you.
It doesn't rhyme with ostrich.
That's not an ost, that's all that matters. Moving on.
But they brought her back as a superheroine dealing with a disability and still being an absolute badass. I mean, there are scenes where you see her with a pair of truncheons in a wheelchair beating people up.
But she's a whole new side of Batman, because Batman wasn't massive on physical disability until she kind of came along. It was mostly like emotional trauma and like mental illness, and if you have the Joker, the Riddler, any of them. Whereas Arca, she was a totally new take. Like, she was going to be really difficult for the Batman people to write because they weren't very good with women, and they had never tackled this, but they still managed to have her deal with her disability and embrace it, and still be a badass. Like, she's one of the well-written women that you can actually love. Whereas people like Huntress, it's just like, you know, you're awesome and you can kick ass and you look hot, but you're a pansy. Whereas Arca is awesome, so.
Yeah, so I do completely agree. She is one of the best written female characters I have ever read in literature, especially just because of what she represents and being able to maintain who she is as a character despite all this.
I like that they didn't give her like superhero, you know, like to kind of gloss over the fact, like the way Professor X has superhero, that she can be awesome as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
She was Batgirl, but people love her more as Oracle, which is incredible, frankly.
I like her because when she got with Nightwing and then he turned around and rejected her, she said, "Well, fuck you," instead of just going off and crying like any of us.
Yeah. So I think we can all take something from that. Okay, the current Venom, Flash Thompson, also otherwise known as Spec Ops Venom. Basically, military-trained Venom. He lost both his legs in Iraq, and he bonds with the Venom symbiote for no more than 48 hours at a time, and he regains his legs. Now, this one is interesting because it's not what he dealt with as the hero. I mean, as the hero, okay, he has all of Venom's powers, plus a transforming gun that turns into whatever he wants, whatever kind of gun he wants. It's like, do I need a sniper rifle? Okay then, you have a sniper rifle. Here's a rocket launcher while they're at it. But in the comic books, in the Amazing Spider-Man series, he went through the stages of grief backwards. As in, he would become very, very upset, but then he'd become very violent. Like, because generally the way people look at it is, you go through your violent stage, then you have your grief, and then your acceptance. He went backwards, and he pushed a lot of people out of his life as a result. Like, he was going out with...
Benny Brand?
Thank you. Sir, what's your name, by the way?
Ronan.
Ronan. Thanks for coming along. You're being a big help.
Hi Ronan! Everyone say hi to Ronan.
Hi Ronan!
I love your hat!
Yeah, he actually...
Oh, we have a new hot guy! Brendan, who knows Mike? Yeah. Who? Oh, he got rid of the hat.
Totally
Yeah.
bailed
Put it
us.
back on! Put it back on!
Put the hat back on! Yay! Progressive bullying!
What's important about Venom is that he goes through loads of treatments for the comic sides. Like he goes through a huge amount of character progression trying to get his legs back. Rather than accepting he doesn't have them, he wants them back. He doesn't deal with it. Whereas he gets this superpower to let him have his legs back. But even though like he could have his legs back permanently and let Venom take over, but he doesn't. He accepts that he can only have them for 48 hours at a time. And it's probably not as empowering as a superhero going to deal with later, who has to just accept that he can't have his legs back, even if superpowers, he can have his legs. But he has to accept that, and he does. As part of the comic, he does deal with the fact that I don't want to be Venom all the time, I don't want to always be a superhero, I can handle not having my legs.
Yeah. There's also the fact as well, like, he has to deal with the fact it's Venom, and we all know what Venom does.
Did you do a really bad musical number?
And also be the worst one ever in a Spider-Man movie.
Oh, right, that, yeah, sorry, I forgot about the strut. No, just so people know, there is the actual Venom, the first Venom, Eddie Brock. He's still there, he's anti-Venom now, so he's a good guy. Just so you know. Bit of a cop-out, but anyway. Echo, no, Annie, if you would like to take the lead on this
The
one.
reason I'm here is just because of her.
Well, we'd like to hear you're a good panelist. That's what we have.
I haven't
That's
said
why
a
we have
word.
you back.
I haven't said a word.
Go Curry, go more!
You look good in the pictures now. Oh, stop. Okay,
Looks like we're
so
actually equality and all that jazz.
affirmative discrimination.
We were
okay.
doing so well.
I work.
Why am I here?
So yeah, Echo. I don't know if people know her, but I like her. She's like all the minorities you can possibly get
Yeah.
squished into one thing. She's her father is Cheyenne. I don't know how to pronounce it. Native American.
yeah.
Cheyenne. Her mother is Hispanic. She's deaf. At some stage, there's also a gender swap where she's a character Ronan, which is also interesting. So I'm like, oh, all the boxes. Let's just.
She's also a celiac.
I bet you. Yeah.
I think she actually is.
She is now.
Funnily enough.
I have no idea if she's a celiac, but in my head she is. So she's deaf. I don't like to use the word deaf as an overall term in terms of characters who have hearing impediments, because of deaf is obviously there's a spectrum of hearing impediments, but for Echo I will use the term deaf because she's fully deaf. Although once earlier on in her story they didn't know what was going on, they thought she was also mute, which was an interesting look at how people deal with not understanding and misunderstanding, and she got sent away and stuff, but then it came out that she was deaf, and her powers is that she can mimic absolutely anything, from piano to ballet, and she flies a jet at one stage.
Yeah, in the comics it's referred to as the photographic reflex. There's only like 2 or 3 characters in the Marvel universe that have it.
And she, but I like it also that they look at her deafness as also the disadvantages. So obviously she can lip read,
yeah,
which is an issue I'll come to in a second. But so obviously in the dark she's at a complete disadvantage because she's completely disorientated and stuff, which is something that they look at. And
yeah.
She's with Daredevil, which is I think a really interesting pairing because obviously as we know he's blind. So there's a kind of symbiosis going on in terms of their disability. I hate the word disability. I don't like the word disability, but she uses it very much. Not uses it, but it's not a disability. It is a disability, but you know it's like not. That's the important point.
This is the really important point of this panel. We may use the term disability. It's not disability. It's just if we do something one way, they just do it a different way. They're no different from anyone else. It's just a label. It means nothing.
I also like that they actually, she's one of the more, she's actually a developed character.
Yes.
Any other characters we ever really have seen with hearing impediments are either there for like comic effect. I don't know if any of you know Tintin and Professor Conquest. It's always like, oh, look at this hilarious situation his deafness has brought us into. And it's a plot device. It's something just to make a funny moment. Or in the sensational Spider-Man, I think it's Hope Hibbett, if I remember correctly, she's deaf and they used her lip reading as a way, she's reading on a camera or something as a way for Spider-Man to go and save the day. So again, it's just a plot device. It's not actually a part of her character or in any way used. So I like that they actually use Echo to explore as a character.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
You know who they didn't get off any? Barton.
Have they actually killed that full off?
Not having a hero off, for God's sake.
Oh,
My hero already done that.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, no, it's a bit after Secret Invasion. It's during.
Hero engaged, she died in Moon Knight.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes, Moon Knight. She fell in love with Moon Knight actually. She just found a kindred spirit in Moon Knight, fell in love with him. Again, the massive disadvantage of the fact that Moon Knight's mask does not have a mouth and she couldn't understand what he was saying.
So
probably for the best.
At one stage they were like, oh, so there was a kind of blurry line at one stage. They're like, oh, she's not deaf because she can hear things from far away. And then they quickly went, oh well, she can kind of lip read out the corner of her eyes. And if it's a really thin mask, she can read that too, which kind of irritated me a little bit because if you simply cannot lip read if there's something over your mouth. That's just impossible. And also she's my favourite character, but the issue in terms of it kind of gives the idea that every single deaf person can lip read, and that's
because it's a skill you have to learn.
It's a whole other skill. Like obviously she did it in terms of there's a reason why she can lip read in terms of that was her survival mechanism, and that's how she learned to communicate with the world. Because also for a long time she was mute, but very few deaf people communicate by lip reading.
Yeah.
It does kind of perpetuate the idea that all deaf people lip read. But that's only a slight issue I have. I'm okay with everything else.
That's kind of the dark side of disabilities in Marvel in general. When Marvel, it's awesome and Stanley is the ultimate good guy because he did teach children like acceptance. Like there's a lot of multiracial superheroes, a lot of like LGBT comics where it's not an issue, it's just a fact. Like sometimes it does give the wrong impression towards disability because a lot of characters with disabilities, aside from like there are obvious ones that you're thinking of that we haven't included, like Professor X, but they really struggle with their disability in the comics, so we can't really talk about them in terms of how their disability has empowered them because it's just a fact and it's just there in the comics. So that is kind of the dark side, but it can lead to people misunderstanding it.
It's fantasizing. Like when you fantasize that, like Rani was saying about how giving the impression that every deaf person can lip read. It's just fantasizing, a possible power that everyone with a disadvantage could have.
And obviously they can't cover every single aspect of someone who has a hearing impediment. And I'm not taking away from that or anything. It's just that it is a slight every deaf character for some reason can lip read. That seems to be their
it is a superhero comic. It isn't just talk all about the disability. So they have to kind of give it a bit of take and give.
Go ahead.
That's me finished.
Okay, Arsenal. Okay, this is a very brief one. Arsenal, formerly known as Speedy, Green Arrow's psychic. I don't know why they call. Well, I know exactly why they call them Speedy. Actually,
They used to call you Speedy too, right?
sorry.
Snaps!
Someone had to do it. Someone had to do it.
Stop laughing at that!
Mary's your boyfriend. Everyone turn around and look at her face. Someone take a look at that face. That's fantastic.
Just to make Paul feel guilty, he's called Steve because he had a drug problem in the comics. Know how bad you feel. Not very. He's still laughing the joke over. Basically, he lost his arm, and as a result, he basically got a mechanical prosthesis. However, However, the problem with that was, besides me breaking my own knuckle, was that it increased something called phantom pain. Now, phantom pain, for anyone who doesn't know what it is that sometimes during amputations, particularly if it's an involuntary amputation, like due to an accident or something, some of the nerves can go into a form of shock, which tricks the nerves into thinking the limb is still there, meaning that they would suffer shooting pain where the limb, they would think that they're experiencing pain in the limb that's no longer there.
That's why a lot of people who are amputees will not wear
a prosthesis.
Prosthesis, because it actually does increase the pain, a lot of them would say.
Yeah.
Personal friend of mine, Stumpy, Anne.
John!
She's the person who came up with that, not me.
John, wave at the camera, buddy.
I'm not telling these stories. I'll bring her here and she will back me up. She came
You started the panel by saying you were here for shits and giggles. You're providing.
I'm entertaining.
And you can punch him.
Anyway, I'm going to totally rectify this. Phantom pain is something that, because of what the war in Iraq, that was only in the last few years, phantom pain has become something that in medical professions has become a much bigger issue. Yeah, so this is probably impressive to talk about. If you don't ever do that,
I'm gonna kill you.
It's impressive to do with the fact that he's dealing with a disability and all, but that disability is giving him power and he's fighting with him. And it actually does cause him other mental health issues because he has to fight with the fact that I can be powerful and in pain, or I can cut it off again. You know?
Yeah. And just for giggles, he actually builds a rocket launcher into it. True. But he still, was called Speedy. That's hard to live down. Hawkeye, this is actually related to hearing impairment.
I'm just not going to speak anymore.
Actually, due to a fight with a villain known as Crossfire, Hawkeye lost 80% of his hearing in both ears. Now, the awesome part with this is that in the year 2012, last year, it was only a few months ago, I'm sure you all remember it, a mother wrote to Marvel Comics pleading with them, saying that her son wouldn't wear his hearing aids because it made him different from all the other kids and he didn't want that. So what Marvel did was they created a new character called Blue Ear for him, a specialized comic just for him, and as well as that, they sent him another comic explaining that Hawkeye, his favourite character, was deaf and wore hearing aids. So they showed him it's not only alright, to be hard of hearing and have to wear hearing aids, but even superheroes have to do it.
They also got him hearing aids made in.
Yeah, they made him Hawkeye hearing aids.
that is so class.
And that's why Stan Lee, I'm pretty sure, is God. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most heartfelt stories I've ever heard. That this big company did all this for one little boy. Well, I'm sure.
It's a great PR stunt.
Well,
somebody still got help.
yeah.
Every time that going to the children's hospital, it's always a PR event if you're famous.
And Christian Bale going to the hospital after the shooting. that tragic shooting. Yeah.
That's not good.
If people are talking about it.
Think about Hawkeye.
Yeah. But the thing with Hawkeye is hearing impairment isn't the only thing he's had to deal with. In the old man Logan comic, anyone ever read it? Yeah! You should read it, it's awesome. The Venom symbiote bonds with a T-Rex. It is the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. It's a Venom T-Rex.
It's just fucking depressing.
He's like tiny little web shooter arms.
Comics need more dinosaurs. That one has dinosaurs.
I know, like, the Savage Land is one of the best things ever.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's like when the X-Men lived there for like a month, just like Wolverine taking on velociraptors for shits and giggles.
I would watch that.
Why don't you do that for shits and giggles?
Champion for shits and giggles! Don't get me a velociraptor. Come on.
Back to Hawkeye.
Genetics students, you have your mission. Basically, in this comic, basically set about 35 years on from the current timeline, a bit further on. Basically, it's set where Dr. Doom, Kingpin, basically all the big villains, the A-level villains, we basically went, lads, I have an idea. I'm just spitballing here, but bear with me. We'll get all the villains together, because for every hero there's like 20 villains, and we'll attack them all at the same time. They basically kill all the villains, like Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. The big three were killed in the first 8 hours. They got Wolverine to kill the X-Men by tricking him. They basically
Fucking Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio.
Crappiest hero or crappiest villain of all time.
It's like, how did you do it? With a holograph machine? And, Dolce & Gabbana from in. Just by tricking the Saint. But basically, Hawkeye lost his eyesight. But he can still do all these things. Like, he uses his hearing to do everything. Like, a lot of blind people or partially visually impaired people still move a lot by using their hearing. Like, I have a friend who's actually visually impaired, and she does this clicking with her tongue. And it gives her a rough idea of spacing. A bit like a bat does, actually. It's really weird. I'm pretty sure she's bullshitting me on some of it. But
It's natural thing.
it's an actual thing.
Yeah, no,
Okay, I go or a drink.
New scientists did a bunch of tests on it. They think
Now
of like
this is
getting like
sensitive.
boxes and giving them to blind kids, like that make the sounds, giving them to blind kids, try and turn them into bats.
Yeah.
That sounds like a horrible experiment.
Sorry, to give blind kids soda. To give blind kids soda, not turn them into bats.
So did this procedure work? Yes, although she only goes over at night. But anyway, like, it's interesting because in this you can still see Hawkeye doing all the stuff we know Hawkeye for. I mean, he's still an archer, using sound, uses his sled, he can still drive. Granted, it's Spider-Man's car, which, can go anywhere. But he has Wolverine navigating for him as well the entire time. So he knows the rough route, he just needs Wolverine to drive around the occasional obstacle, like a Venom T-Rex. And a bunch of Ghost Riders at one point. So, it's an interesting point to show that what people with visual impairment can still do in spite of the fact they are partially visually impaired. So, do any of our panelists have anything they'd like to add?
Another comic book is about how when the superheroes are lost, they all became disaffected. But Hawkeye, as well as becoming disaffected, also became further disabled. But he still managed to maintain his archery. Like it's a hobby. It's not.
Yeah.
He's not really a superhero anymore, but he's still useful. Like he's still incredibly useful to Logan and Spider-Man. Like he becomes kind of like Oracle in a way, but like he's just still really cool, and it's a really cool take on it. The fact that he didn't just get down, he got really down, but he still came back up. And even though he could have just retired and fucked off, it would have been easy to write him out of it and say, look, a really, really dark thing happened. But they didn't. They made an effort to find things that Hawkeye could still do, and they brought him back and they wrote him in, which was probably really hard to remember too, but they still did it.
Wasn't it the kicker that they left him alive? The villain said they left him alive because he was like just a bog standard human.
Well, the excuse he came up with is that because he used to be one of them, and they knew he was blind, they just kind of went, well, there's no point, he's not going to be able to do anything to us. Like, and he still took out most of them. I mean, they dropped a building on Loki, which is interesting.
Well, I like that the way that they looking at that assumption that he is now useless, therefore we don't even need to.
Yeah, the villains literally went, we don't need to worry about this.
And then he went on, like you were saying, to actually prove to be incredibly useful.
I mean, unfortunately.
That's when Joker shot Oracle. He said,
Yeah.
I don't need to kill her. Like, he shot her in back on purpose. He was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I just paralyzed Commissioner Gordon's daughter. I'm awesome. I don't need to kill her. Like, this is worse.
Yeah.
And, like, it's the same thing. And he came back with his plan.
Yeah. So, moving on. Of course, couldn't have a panel without mentioning the Daredevil. Interesting point, also cool because the little boy in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic who was holding the jar when the U's mutated the turtles. Daredevil. It was actually Daredevil. That ooze gave him his powers and created the Ninja Turtles. I'm going to take your silence as that's awesome.
Are they already new?
Or they already knew, possibly. Either way.
You've been telling us all week.
Yeah, like radiation did a lot back in the day.
The model UN. Street Sharks!
Yeah, they were awesome. Yeah. Basically, Daredevil, we all know he's blind because of an accident while he was a child. But as a result, he also gained hyper-tuned hearing, whereas any sound would give him a kind of a radar effect where he could see what's around him by hearing sound. Now, Niall actually made an interesting point about this today, about the Daredevil movie, which a lot of people, weren't fans of, let's be honest, but it's still a good movie. It actually explored that. Niall, if you'd actually like to elaborate.
I like how they went into, basically what I was saying earlier is I like how they went into, although he's blind, he's got, when sound is made near him, it creates like the radar sense. And that's how he's able to get like a sense of objects and stuff. And like, even though it's fantasizing, a disadvantage that people have, it's still really cool because, again, I forgot to mention, in one of the newer Marvel and DC games, DC Universe Online, a point was made that in the game you're able to create your own hero and your own backstory. And a point was made that an awful lot of the backstories, an awful lot of them were how like the hero came from a disadvantaged background or has a disadvantage and became a hero because of it. And they made a point that possibly, because heroes are, heroes, a lot of them have disadvantages that people, tend to fantasize it, but at least it's creating awareness because of it. With Daredevil as well, how he is blind.
Yeah.
Senses.
So, if anyone would like to say anything?
I just came here for Echo on that.
I don't know.
Okay. Here we go. It's all for you. Now, Anna is.
Do you want to talk about this? I'm just saying. Do you want to nail that coffin down?
Okay, so I introduced this guy to Anna a couple of days ago, and I'd like her to take this.
Silver Scorpion is amazing. He is a hero who's created by 12 disabled children, 6 from Syria and 6 from America. They couldn't talk to each other because they had a language barrier, but they still came up with the same things. My favourite thing about where Silver Scorpion came from is that when they brought these children together and they asked them what their ideal superhero, what superpower he would have, they were expecting all the usual things: invisibility, super strength, flight, and mind control. But what they got was the craziest stuff. Like, one girl wanted to combine the power of the moon and the sun, and it just kind of brought up this idea that these children have been isolated from society and they developed as individuals, and the hero that they created, not only was he going to be special because of where he came from, like, that these children's imaginations were so intense, and they came up with Silver Scorpion, who's this Muslim kid who loses his legs, and he has to deal with that and the fact that his best friend died at the same time, and then he gets these superpowers. Well, the one limit on his superpower is he can't use it to get his disability back, and that was another thing to get rid of his disability. And that was another thing that shocked the people who wanted to create the comic, that none of them came up with a superpower which would allow them to get rid of their disability, because they had all grown up and accepted it, and they had used it to empower themselves rather than get down with it. And that's where Silver Scorpion came from. And he's like this superhero who's gonna unite the world, but he's also gonna show people I can kick your ass even though I'm disabled. Because in the first comic, there's people in the beginning when he comes out of hospital, he's really disaffected and he hates the world, and they disrespect him. But then, well, he offends them, and then they're like, no, we won't even bother like fighting with this guy because he's a cripple. You know, screw him. And later he comes back and he destroys them, and like that's just so cool. He's Muslim and he's got no legs, and then he becomes like a Muslim Magneto who's disabled.
How do they, I don't know it about, do they deal with, like, how do they deal with the religion aspect of his character, or do they, or is it just an aside?
It's not really touched off in the first few issues.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's
They're
still
still
ongoing.
developing him as a character, but he will, like, he's Muslim and he's still in his own world, but the plan of the character is to take him out of his own world, so he's going to deal with disability, and he is then going to touch on international issues, which was the point of it. It was created by the Bananas Initiative, who were trying to unite kids.
Yeah. See, one of the big points with it was they basically settled on his power. On the basis that a lot of the kids mentioned the war and how they wanted to get rid of, you know, basic guns and bullets and things like that. So they get, I think it's called ferrokinesis. It's not strictly magnetism. It is manipulation of metal at its core level. So it's not, I know ferrous is Latin for iron, not metal as a whole, but anyway, I think that's it.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He got his powers off a blind guy who had that same power, who kept it secret and didn't really use it for much except for making art. And when he got the power, he was told by the blind guy who was dying, he said, you can't use it to give yourself metal legs and you have to keep it secret. First thing he does is he makes himself this awesome metal costume. Go back to the picture. And, oh, you can't see it, but he doesn't make himself metal legs, he makes himself kind of a pod. And the first thing he does, he goes out into public and just kicks ass. So he breaks that rule, but he never gives himself metal legs because he doesn't feel that he has to.
There were designs for him for a leg suit, but they just went, no, we want him to have the pod.
Does the pod fly?
Yeah, it hovers slightly.
Oh, my knee. I hope he fights my knee.
That would be interesting. That would really
be amazing.
Imagine the racial religious reading of that.
And Batman, basically, we all know what Batman's like. He has superpowers, like, you know, he's a billionaire, he's Batman, that's a superpower.
I love the fact that money is a superpower.
Also the fact that
loads of money.
Bat credit card.
The Bat card, yeah, remember the Bat credit card? You never used to pay without it. You do not remember that movie? You're lucky.
I remember the one with the really bad puns and Batman.
Same movie.
That's the same movie.
That's right.
I remember one with George Clooney in spandex.
That's the same movie.
It's the best movie ever.
Anyway, yeah. Plus also the fact being Batman is a superpower because you're Batman. Anyway,
have to voice it all the time.
Basically, he's a manic depressive with borderline multiple personality disorder. Like, he disassociates himself, Bruce Wayne, from Batman, as in two very separate people. I think, Anna, you might be the best too. You're a big Batman fan.
I'm a big Batman fan. Like, manic depression, like, a lot of people don't understand it, especially in this country, because, like, manic depressives, like, 50% of them will attempt suicide, 20% will succeed. Like, manic, and, like, only 30% of people with manic depression are diagnosed, because people just don't understand it. Like, how many of you would have said that Batman was a manic depressive? Like, if you said to someone, what's Batman's disability? Like, does he have a disability?
Actually, yeah, on that, as a show of hands, before you saw the site, who would have thought Batman would have counted among the heroes? Who would have now? Okay, no, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I generally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But I don't read much comics.
Yeah.
It's not really, it's not looked at the way, like, even the one that was just done before, and like it's very looked at. And
yeah.
There's other, you know, the characters with the most with their own. It's kind of I feel like it's tied in more. Where in other characters, like I wish they would look at it more.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something there that they could.
He always refers to the Batman as being separate. Bruce Wayne here always refers to the Batman as being a separate entity. He'll always refer to the Batman as the Batman.
Yeah, he always used the prefix of the to
And that's a really big deal in like Batman Beyond and with The Dark Knight Returns. Like,
Yeah.
he's still in his head. There's two people talking. Like his thoughts aren't just like his thoughts. There's two people.
Yeah, there's like two sides of a coin.
And he like can't handle himself. Without the Batman, he just can't survive. Like he just constantly tries to kill himself. Like a Batman is something that he clings to handle his depression, which it holds him together.
Yeah.
With the neuropsychology that have like multiple personalities and kind of identity dissociation, it's mostly like, you know, to escape from something or to deal with like something that's happened to them. In real life, do they know? Is it usually caused by things like that, or is it just something that the person has?
Well, sometimes it can. See, basically, the thing with it is, the diagnosis is difficult for it because everyone knows that children, they play games or play different characters and things like that. Essentially, what it is that it is quite often a personality created to escape from a trauma.
Mental illnesses are more normally found out in later life and normally are more significant. Let's say, for example, at the moment in college, it's very well known, hence why we have mental awareness week and that sort of thing. And they're very, very hard to diagnose and very challenging.
Yeah.
And it takes years of psychology to even get a proper diagnosis, and many people are misdiagnosed in Ireland. It is a very tragic situation.
But like, I do have, not that I have an issue with it, but there's always a reason in comic books why the character's like this, and that's not always true in real life.
No, sometimes
it would
can
be
just
interesting
happen.
to see a character that this is just the way they are.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens. Not everyone who's depressed has had a trauma or something, which is a huge misinterpretation actually, that people assume, oh, nothing's happened to you, therefore you cannot be depressed.
Exactly.
That's not how mental health works at all.
We've had the most fantastic life in the world.
You know the character Legion, Xavier's son?
Yes.
Yeah, there's the way that some of his personalities try to dick over
Yeah.
the situation. That's not true at all in real life with people with multiple personalities, like where there's a personality that tries to dick over the sex as a whole.
Sometimes there are very rare cases, but there are some cases where one personality will think that it's dominant over. There is one dominant personality that will try its utmost to get rid of the others. It's not so much as they'll physically harm themselves, but they'll try other ways to do it. As in, quite often, the dominant personality may go to see a therapist about the other personalities which he's playing. But again, it's a very very winding kind of subject, because again, we wouldn't really know unless we had it or something like that, or someone would openly discuss it with us. Right, so just wrapping up.
This is the part where you want to take over, right?
No, I can do it from here. It's okay. We'd like to say a big thank you anyway for everyone who came along. Of course, thank you to Anna. Give her a big hand, Anna, please. And a big thank you as well to Annie with them talking. Thank you to Fionn, who's helped run the panels.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I couldn't beat you. If you like your kid, I'm not. I'm just speeding.
Oh my god. Yeah!
Anyway,
Excuse me, who's the one who busted her ass laughing? Yeah! You're gonna put on what?
Yeah, but anyway, we'd like to thank you all for coming in. Oh look, Deadpool's taking over. Yeah, okay, so this is the part where I tried to do the gag that wouldn't really work.
What's the credit to Deadpool in one?
I don't know.
He's not here. He's in France.
But just quickly wrapping up with Deadpool. Deadpool does have a disability with the fact that he's dealing with long-term illness. He is suffering from terminal cancer that will never kill him, because his healing factor is keeping the cancer alive, and cancer is keeping his healing factor going, meaning that he's stuck in an endless cycle of the cancer cells constantly dying and regenerating.
Yes.
And also because of it, he's lost his freaking mind. As in, he will break the fourth wall, he will talk to us, and yeah, yes, I know I'm trying to finish, and you know.
It's also the thing like that due to getting the healing factor just fucked up his body on a molecular level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his skin is constantly, so he can't go out in public without the mask on or something like that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, he is horribly scared from it, and he is suffering mentally from it. And despite what he's telling me to do, I'm still going to press the button. And yeah.
But he's so super buff.
And
Guys, once again, big hand for Kim! You are all fantastic, and I think this wraps up Equality Week.
I'm
It's done! I can go to the pub and drink like a normal person.
Beat the shit out of them now.
Yeah. Outside?
actually, yeah.
Let's go, Rob.
I'm gonna go and take my